that have cell phones, please put them on vibrate. Let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's go on with the minutes of the September 2nd. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes as made? Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Discussion and approval of the claims.
Move it. Second.
Okay. Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Wait a minute.
We need to discuss one that
Okay.
we held off on.
You need to discuss what?
We held off on one claim because we're waiting to hear back from the sheriff's department.
Right.
There's one that will be held till next week.
We'll hold it until next week until we get an answer back, and that was on a meals expense from the sheriff's department, and he hasn't gotten back to us with an answer on it.
But, I can answer it.
Who's going to answer it?
What's going on?
We have transportation officers that go to Oakdale. It's a 10-hour trip, so they're going to be entitled to have a meal while they're out of town. And I've allowed that, and that's, otherwise they don't get a meal. It's 10 hours. We can't have them pull into McDonald's and go inside and grab a meal while the inmates wait. There's just no place for them to go have a meal. So it's something that we've had going on for some time, and I must have just started back up then.
Okay, well, I guess it's been our policy, based, the turnaround, and I don't know if it applied to the sheriff's department or not, Dave, but on turnaround trips when we leave and come back, that our meals are not reimbursed by the county. And it's a blanket policy. I think it has been, hasn't it, Pat?
Well, I mean, you might want to confer with the county attorney here, but this all started, the change, the policy that was developed, started from the same reason that this is what we're talking about, is that it's all it involves is whether the meal is a taxable item or not. And at the time that the issue came up is that we were looking at it is that if a meal does not involve an overnight stay, then it's a taxable item. And we brought that to the sheriff department's attention under a different administration at that point. And so then, I don't know what the discussion was, how it all came about, but they established a policy that, the board established a policy in the county that said that we aren't going to reimburse folks unless they have an overnight stay. And I believe the elected official, like I said, you can check with the county attorney's office. But I believe he has discretion to do that, is that if he wants to determine, and what they explained to me at the time was that it was similar to what happens in the jail. It's the jail, and the IRS actually allows in the jail, that situation is that they can get a meal, and it's not a taxable item because they have to be there all the time. And what was explained to me by the previous sheriff and the sheriff is that their view is the same thing, is that once a person's on duty, they take them down there, and it's not like they can leave the person in the car and handcuff them to the steering wheel. They said that they always have to be on duty and they have to do that. So that's what he said that it was, it was his discretion to pay for that. I said, that's fine. The only thing we're talking about is the IRS is telling us is that is a taxable item. So as far as your policy, I don't know if that's why you're going to.
Is that interpretation correct, Joshua? What he just explained, or would we be in violation of the Internal Revenue's
No,
order?
not be.
I don't disagree with anything that Pat said. I think it's something that I can review if I'm asked to do that, and we can get back as far as what the answer is.
Well, what would we do with the bill now? I mean, should we go ahead and pay it, and then if it is opposite of what the interpretation is, then we would ask to be reimbursed or what?
Well, I think that we could get an answer back by next week, and I don't think that we would hurt anything by delaying.
By delaying the payment
until
on
then.
it? Okay,
What exactly is the question that you're asking?
well, the question is would we be in violation of Internal Revenue stipulations?
I can tell you that you're not in violation.
No.
The question is whether the policy applies to the sheriff. Can you prevent the sheriff from doing that? That is the
Well, it
question.
kind of goes along with some of the other policies that, you know, when I was chair, I remember that.
Right, we discussed
When that
it.
happened, right. And the way I remember it was, there was the whole discussion on the IRS, and then the sheriff at that time sent out a memo saying that there would be no more daily meal expenses paid. And then we followed suit to align ourselves with the sheriff's policy, so we would, you know, could have one policy that would apply to all the departments. But, you know, those policies that were created during that administration, one by one, you know, this would be the second one that
It's been
would
changed.
be
Yeah,
changed.
because what has changed is this sheriff has said that we're going to go back to the policy of reimbursing, or the procedure of reimbursing those transport officers. That's what has changed, and it's not whether it's an IRS.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't have a problem with that. I don't, but I don't want to be in violation of
No,
some
yeah,
Internal
I
Revenue
guarantee you
Department's
we're not in violation.
policy.
The only thing we're asking the sheriff's
Mhm.
department to do is, procedurally, is that they put it in a different batch, so that, because what it amounts to is we have to pay it differently, is that if it's a taxable item, it has to appear on the paycheck rather than just a check that's
Right.
written to them for reimbursement. So that's where our communication broke down, is we need to, from the sheriff's department, it's a separate batch that says, these are taxable meals. And it's up to the individual if they want to fight with the IRS about whether or not that is reimbursable.
Right.
The information we got from the IRS is that it is a taxable benefit, and so that's what we need to know.
Right, yeah, and it's, you know, like I said, they travel, it's a 10-hour day.
You
and
bet.
So they should be entitled to a meal.
Absolutely, we understand that.
And I've said it over, you know, if you're going to Cherokee, you're not gonna get a meal.
Right.
You're coming back.
Mhm.
But when we're hauling across, or we're in Des Moines or something like that.
Different circumstance.
It's different circumstances.
Right.
I check with other sheriffs, that's how they do it. Check with Sioux City, when
Mhm.
they travel outside of, out of town,
Mhm.
and there's a meal involved, that's commonplace.
Okay.
I don't want to belabor it, but then the question becomes, when the Board of Supervisors passes a policy, it really doesn't radiate out, it's not a countywide policy then.
Right.
I think it would be for your departments, but.
Just for our departments, and
For
then,
elected
so we
officials,
would
so-
not need, so we have possibly several sets of rules that would be
And
Applicable.
we went along
happening,
with
that's
the
not
policy
very
because
cohesive, but.
in our office, it rarely happens. When the only time that our staff goes out for the day is a training that is provided by the Secretary of State, and the meal is included in that, and that's what the IRS regulations say. Is when the meal is included in that, it's on the agenda, then it's not a taxable item, and that agency pays for it as part of the registration fees and that. So we went along with what the board's policy was, because we never have that. But I can understand when the sheriff explained to me what they did, and that's the previous one. I don't know why they sat out and said, we're not gonna do it. I said, well, you know, that's.
We're just a little more unique, we're hauling inmates.
So,
Okay,
where
well-
are we at?
Well, we had a motion and a second, but
So-
I'll retract my second.
just a minute.
Is the motion to approve the claims except for that one that was pulled out from the sheriff's office?
I don't know, what was the
It
motion?
was.
Are we going to approve that claim?
Well, you could change your motion or your second.
You're gonna change your motion? You were the motion.
So we're gonna approve them all. I move we withdraw my motion and move to pay the claims.
And I'll second.
As is.
Okay, any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right, item number 3 is the Human Resources, the approval of memorandum of personal transactions. I will pass that around for signatures.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Then I need an authorization for the chairman to sign up the hiring process.
Move it.
Okay, discussion. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item C is the retiree request files remain on the county health insurance plan.
Move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item D is to approve the floating Christmas holiday
Move it
for the wage plan.
for Friday, December 26th, I guess.
Okay,
It would be matched the absent contract.
right.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item E is the blue zone designation. Ed, have a,
Yeah, we think this is a great opportunity. We do a lot of the things already that Blue Zone requires for an employer to be qualified in Blue Zone. We think we can get some assistance of some help in laying out activities and things for employees, laying out positive programs and some information. And we've got some handouts for everybody. Should have another, my short one, of course, short for myself, but that's, essentially, we do an awful lot of the things already through the programs that we've set up. We do offer the on-site employer sanctioned fitness activities. We have a boot camp that they do downstairs after work. We've done that, we did that this summer, we'll be doing it again this fall, where we do bring in a personal trainer to help people. We also design activities to promote participation outcomes, the health insurance discounts for employees participating in the health screening, coaching, those kind of things. And these are part of the things that Blue Zone requires. Again, things that we're already doing. So a lot of it is just letting everybody know what we're already doing for our employees and how we are participating in the work, participating in the, we're trying to set the employer up so that we're actually creating a healthy work environment and healthy lifestyles for people. We do enforce a tobacco-free work site. We do have the EAP program in place. We do have a 24/7 nurse line that's available through Wellmark. So we've got a lot of the things that Blue Zone are suggesting and requiring that should be done. We have approximately 47% of the immediate pledge actions from people already online with Blue Zone. We only need to get about 13% more, and we're pretty much there for qualifying. This is kind of a goal that I think it's one that I've recommended before. There's an employee here that Woodbury County do, one that I think makes good sense. I think it's just a way to help promote health and fitness. And the more we do that, the more we're going to help our employees in their lifestyle, and also I think we'll drive down claims a little bit.
Do you need a motion to move forward, or
If we could, that would be great.
have we move it? Does it require any money?
This
There's
is
no
essentially
budget.
no cost. There might be some minor cost if we sponsor a ticket or something. That would come to a coordinator.
Are you gonna have a wellness committee meeting anytime soon?
We hope to in the month of October, and we also hope to get our health fair set up for the last Tuesday in October.
so does this require a motion that we participate?
Yes.
Okay, did we have a motion on that?
I made it.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Very good. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Item 4 is discussion and action on funding source for the Siouxland Paramedics Incorporated.
George, we have a set time.
We do have a set time, so thanks for reminding me. The folks that we were selling this property to called in just earlier and said that they were having a difficult time getting here because of the fog. Oh, you're here now? Okay, wonderful. Glad to see you. Okay, then we'll go to the set time, which is a sale of property. This is a public sale of property, partial 00 4755, which is located at 117 Sioux Street, Unit A. Is there anyone in the audience to speak for or against the sale of this property? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing on this.
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Now I'm going to open it for sale of that piece of property. Is there anyone here to bid on that property? Yes, ma'am, would you give your name, please, and the amount that you're bidding?
Ann Mongeluzzi for Victory Education Services. And I think one is 300 and one is 200.
This is 319.
This is $319.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. Is there anyone else to bid on this property? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to award the bid.
Mr. Chairman, I move we award the bid
Second.
to France of Victory Education Services.
Okay. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, we have the public hearing on partial 004740 located at 117 Street, Unit B. Is there anyone in the audience to speak for or against the sale of this piece of property? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to close the
Move
public
hearing
hearing.
closed.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Okay. Now the public is open to, for the sale of this piece of property. Is there anyone to bid on this piece of property?
I would?
All right, same lady. You bid the $200?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anyone else to bid on this piece of property?
This is the bid of, you're bidding for Victory Education Services.
Yes, sir.
Be accepted.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. You just bought 2 pieces of property. Okay, let's go back to item number 4, and that's discussion of source of funding for paramedics. We have had that discussion about 3 to 4 weeks ago, and we didn't determine where the money was going to come from, but it was suggested that we take it out of reserves, the $35,000. And I would support that. Is there a motion for that?
Move to take it out of reserves.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
This is a 1-year,
This is a 1-year commitment, and then we're going to get into meeting and developing a task force, and Mr. Brown is in charge of that, and finding a way of developing a broader plan for the entire county. Any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, item 5 is secondary roads. Mr. Nara. And this is, good morning, consideration of quotes for the hydraulic excavator.
If you remember, we took quotations on a Gradall style excavator, which was a truck mounted excavator, telescoping boom. Those bids, we only had one supplier for that, and it was very high priced. We began to explore options looking at another style of excavator. Because the desire to get one in each district is districts right now are trading them around. This lower cost option with a rubber tired excavator, basically looks like instead of tracks, there's wheels on it.
Wheels on it.
And we've gone around, demoed a couple of these from different manufacturers, and we're looking at giving one of these a try. We're anticipating it'd be lower cost in the budget. First one bid we have today is from Sheehan Max Sales and Equipment Incorporated of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I do have bid tabs for everybody.
Okay. How many bids do you have there, Mark?
I don't know for sure.
Okay, that's all right.
Looks like 3.
Okay.
Anybody out there wanted a copy of their Right. Again, the first one is from Sheehan Max Sales and Equipment. Total price for machine without trade, $255,470. Trade-in for our current Gradall, $22,000, reducing it to a net price of $233,470. I had also requested prices on some alternative equipment. I don't know, do you need that read into the record, Pam? It was just a couple of optional buckets and a tree shear. We have a tree shear now, we'll need to see whether it can be adapted to the new machine.
Okay.
It's a useful piece of equipment. Our next bid is from Murphy Tractor and Equipment Company of Sioux City. The list does show who we went out to for quotations. There are a number of these machines. And, we've only had the opportunity to demo a couple of them. Total price, $203,400. Trade-in on our current Gradall, $10,200. Net purchase price, $193,200. And they also did the requested excavation bucket, loading bucket, and tree shear. The final bid received is from Ziegler Caterpillar of Sioux City. Total bid price, $276,815. Trade-in on unit 99, $13,500. Net purchase price, $263,315. Also bid the requested additional equipment. I'd like a week to look over
The bids?
the bids.
Okay.
Mark, on my bed too, there was 2 pages, and when you read it,
Oh.
next to my second machine board.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then
Was that a demonstrator at 203?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
just so you
I'm
can.
glad you mentioned that. I worked from the back forward. Total price on the 203 was a demonstrator. Total price on a new machine delivered from the factory, $257,900. Trade-in on unit 99, $10,200. Net price, $246,900.
Okay.
Thank you. Well,
We'll refer these back to the engineer for recommendation.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you for the bids, ladies and gentlemen. Item B.
Trying to find the permit, it's not in my board packet. I guess I would table that, recommend tabling that one, and I'll bring it to you next week.
Okay.
Do they have it in their pack?
It's in your homework.
It's in our
Pardon me.
Is it in their
Tish didn't get it back in my folder, so.
So this is for Mid-American, or, yeah, Mid-American Energy.
He can shoot the time, let's see. Thank you. Oh, thanks. This is for overhead electric transmission line. I don't know, I guess City of Davenport on there, there is a map. Oh, yeah, I remember this one now, sorry about that. I'd emailed it and I'm misprinting it, it wasn't Tish's fault, it was mine. In the course of emergency repairs that were done by Mid-American Energy along Christie Road, they had a number of their distribution lines down. One crosses Christie Road straight across. They requested putting a taller structure in as opposed to power poles, so they had adequate clearance of the line over top of the road. I gave them permission to do the installation, bring it in for later approval of board. So that's what this is here for today.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Apologies, folks, I had forgotten exactly what that one entailed. But again, the road was closed to traffic because of the down power line. We were in a pinch to get that one back over to traffic. And that's all I have for that business.
Okay. We have a,
You're gonna be here till the end of the meeting, or,
Yes, I will be. And
Yeah.
Gary's.
well, we can do it now, I guess. I went out and looked at that Kirkpatrick, and that's been a problem forever. There's a gate on 141 that doesn't open properly.
for sale.
You know, that would do to fix that. But that ditch doesn't need to be cleaned out.
Yeah, we're aware, it's had debris that's deposited in there over time.
It's got the old Bronson sign is still in there since they put up the new one, so that's.
It's been a while.
Anyway, if we clean it out, I don't know if it's gonna do any good, but it might.
Well, again, during the height of the flood, when Elliott Creek was full, any water coming down to go through those pipes was going to pond regardless. Having a working gate keeps the water from backflowing from Elliott Creek. Things are only get worse in a situation like that if the gate isn't working. But again, if it's necessary to replace the gate, we will do so. It isn't something that had generated complaints, and unfortunately with the 2,800 miles of ditches, we are rather complaint driven with getting out and dealing with them. So again, it will be dealt with here this year before the winter. Our crew is scheduled to work down on 240th Street in Allison. We're doing from 240th on Allison South, doing some widening down there so that when we get the new road, 240th extension and Andrew improved, that we also have that same improved cross-section going south. CF is donating the right of way for that. With a couple of weeks' work, we should be able to widen that out to a 32-foot top to match the other road.
That's great. That's great. Okay, we have one other item here. Item C is the approval of a resolution to, for property sale 264990.
Move to place that on the agenda for the 23rd day of September at 10:15.
Okay.
Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay, Gary and Mark, you want to update us?
Yeah, we also have Eric Lincoln, the city administrator from Sergeant Bluff, who's with us this morning, that has been
Hi,
kind of
Eric.
in the middle of this storm damage, so if Aaron has anything to say, I'd ask him to chime in. We just wanted to do a quick update from the storm of 8/31. Happened about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It was not, that it wasn't anticipated. The National Weather Service had put out a tornado watch for this event about 3:30 Sunday afternoon. As the afternoon progressed, they were putting out some thunderstorm warnings for southern Dakota and eastern Dakota. You know, we got caught without a lot of warning on this storm. The storm was producing less than 60-mile-an-hour winds. Ping pong size hail got right to the city limits, basically right on the west edge of Dakota City, and really intensified. We estimate we had somewhere between 75 and 85-mile-an-hour winds come through Dakota City, the area north of the airport, the city of Sergeant Bluff, and then through rural Woodbury County out into the southern edge of Sioux City. We got reports of up to 3 inches of rain during that event, so when you get 75, 80-mile-an-hour winds that have got heavy rain within them, it does a lot of damage, and it does it in a hurry. We do see some evidence that maybe there was a small spin-up tornado towards the east end of that damaged path. And we believe we have some citizens that saw that as well. So we went to work on Sunday evening in our county, the city of Sergeant Bluff, the city of Bronson, the city of Sioux City, and the unincorporated area of Woodbury County right there between them was impacted. We had 4 law enforcement agencies involved. We had about a dozen fire and EMS services involved. The sheriff's reserves were with us. Our primary objective was to get the debris out of the way and get utilities restored throughout the damaged area. And then we went into pretty much a massive debris cleanup. The city of Sergeant Bluff had a lot of work to do on assessing our homes, whether or not they needed to be red tagged or what condition of some of their homes. We did partner with the city of Sergeant Bluff on a debris removal site in the city of Sergeant Bluff because Woodbury County just simply didn't have a big enough piece of ground anywhere over in this corner of the county. So, and I'll let Mark talk a little bit about what his crews were doing with that.
Well, with request of Sergeant Bluff, we partnered with them in doing debris cleanup both in town and out of town. Our 2 large loaders assisted contract staff. They had contract truckers that were hauling material to their brush dump. They also allowed us to haul to that brush dump as well, which saved us better than 45 minutes per round comparing to hauling it down to Luton. Our Luton site filled quickly anyway. This hit an area with that's heavily residential, small lots. These folks really didn't have the places to get rid of their debris, and hearing the Sioux City and Sergeant Bluff accommodations where they could drag it out to the road, we realized that it was coming our way too.
Yeah.
And we did have crews out in the evening getting roads back open where we had blown down trees, but there was also a lot of damage in very confined areas. So in consultation with Gary and with board chair, our department set up a program where within the damaged area, went out and surveyed it to determine where we had the major tree damage. We allowed people to put it out on the roadside where we could recover it, and Sergeant Bluff allowed us to haul it to the facility. They've been working to get a contractor to come in and chip that debris. They found somebody that's got a proposal in for approval of the city council tonight. I would say a good chunk of that debris is ours, and we're hoping we might be able to get some assistance for Sergeant Bluff with disposal of that material, because a good deal of it is ours as well.
We think we're gonna be somewhere in the $8,000 category to dispose of that pile. And working with Mark, we really feel that the county's responsible for probably 50% of that pile.
Is that right?
So, I guess we're not asking for action today because it's not an action item on the agenda, but the city's gonna, Sergeant Bluff's got a contract they're gonna approve tonight with their city council for grinding that pile. They've gone and gotten the prices, and I think we're gonna recommend to you guys if we can pick up half the cost of that. We expect it to be less than $8,000. And like Mark said, there's so many small residential lots that are in rural Woodbury County right abutting up against the city of Sergeant Bluff and Sioux City that, and without a place for us to take that debris, they were taking it to that pile whether we said they could or not.
Not, yeah.
And we saw a lot of it coming that way, and it was just there was no stopping it. So I think it's the right thing to do. We'll get the final number.
Okay, good.
Come back.
Good report.
And we still have some at Luton. We'd like to take that same contractor down and have him chip that pile as well. That one would be 100% of the cost. But compared to the pile at Sergeant Bluff, that should be less than a day of work. So I can cover that within my budget.
Okay,
But
good.
with the next pile, if we could get assistance from the board on that, work with Benny, I see if we could find that roughly $4,000 to help out. I think that would be very fair. Sergeant Bluff has been, we've been able to partner well on this cleanup.
Good.
We'll continue to do so. The parts that can't be chipped are large, and we'll send in one of our loaders with a grapple to help load that to where they'll take it to their burn pile and ultimately dispose of that portion that can't be chipped for us.
We've been back and forth with the Iowa Homeland Security Emergency Management, looking at the dollars of damage across the state from this event. In order for it to even be considered for a presidential declaration, Woodbury County alone would have to hit more than $360,000 of uninsured public damage, city and county damage. I believe we're gonna fall short on that, even with the city of Sergeant Bluff being a municipal utility. The bigger threshold to jump over is the state of Iowa has to incur $4.1 million total before we can be considered. And right now with Crawford County's damage, they're at about $1 million. So we're even if we would go over the $370,000 mark, we're still short.
Sure.
We always open that window of opportunity because sometimes if we have back-to-back storms over a multiple day period of time, sometimes they'll allow those multiple events to be combined into one. So, but right now it doesn't appear that. We've also reached out to them looking for any other financial resources, CBDG funds or anything else that might be able to help offset some of these costs, and that dialogue is ongoing. That's something we do with every event. So.
Okay.
Right now, it looks like total cost to our department's probably under $25,000, and that's equipment, labor, and even including the overtime tonight.
Aaron, did you have anything you want to add?
Aaron Lincoln, City Administrator, Sergeant Bluff. First I just like to tell the board you guys got an all-star crew helping us. I mean, Mark and Gary being there, helping set up our command center. I really appreciate just the fact that we can, well, even Jeff Hansen from Sioux City came down, you get
Wonderful.
an event like this, there's just no borders.
Mhm.
And we're just very, very appreciative of the cooperation and anything we can do to help reciprocate, we're sure there. One of the things that Sioux City's also helped with, that I haven't told these two yet, is out at their wastewater plant, they're doing some trails, and so they're gonna use the wood chips. So they're actually paying to have them trucked to their wastewater site. So it'll just be the grinding cost is all we're talking.
That is wonderful.
So, yeah, so I
We
mean,
appreciate that.
yeah.
But I believe Conservation's looking for chips too. They'd
Uh-huh.
be more than welcome to the list.
Yeah, we had
should
to
be
make
able to
contact
get
with them.
everything.
Yeah,
That's
You know,
wonderful.
what they can't supply, I'm sure we'll be able to.
Wonderful. Well, it's good that we have that kind of collaboration and cooperation, within the area. It's just great.
And I think this is one of the things that's come about from the foresight that the board and Gary had with the development of the EOC and the structure it's got there for working when disaster strikes the county. So
Yeah, absolutely.
these preparedness like this and lines of communication, if nothing else, those drills. I know Mark Hunley, I've got his cell phone number. We can communicate to get things going and get equipment in place to assist the city and keep those communications open that where they're helping us as well. It has saved us a great deal of time to clean up of even the stuff that was just dropped in the road by being able to haul it to Sergeant Bluff rather than going to one of our. If we had filled up Luton and had to start going to Correctionville,
Boy,
you can imagine that's an hour and a half round trip.
that is right. Very expensive.
Sergeant Bluff did a phenomenal job. It was around the clock, about a few days with the whole staff. And I had several comments from the folks along the way who were thanking the county for hauling their debris. One was trying to get somebody to come get it, which wasn't an option after that because everybody was tied up. But they were extremely happy to have that stuff moved.
I think it was 3 years ago that we did this exercise down at Sergeant Bluff, so tabletop exercise on the wind event like this, to all of the different agencies that,
Really?
pretty much all of them that were there on Sunday night, Monday were participating in that exercise. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, check it, so pretty fast, but it's good cooperation. One of the big things that we had to deal with that night was getting the utilities back on, but also north and southbound I-29 was closed because part of one of the hangars from the airport landed on a vehicle on the interstate, and it was right at the head-to-head where the construction's going on 8th Street. So initially, the traffic was routed through Sergeant Bluff, that's our reroute, and then we got old law enforcement, and they changed that and took them off at Salix and took them up Highway 75, so at least the emergency vehicles can get back and forth on First Street. Because most of the damage in Sergeant Bluff is north of First Street, so having that, everybody working together,
Really makes a difference, big difference.
very helpful. Just one phone call, and we said, hey, can you do something with this interstate traffic? And you come up with a plan to get it off of First Street. It didn't take very long, and they were off of First Street. So.
Well, we appreciate everything that you guys have done. I mean, it's a great effort by this community.
I think we have 12 or so fire and EMS agencies involved.
Fantastic, that's wonderful.
Because the city got hit hard too. I mean, people like me were upset because the sirens went off after the fact, and we've addressed that in a couple of forums now, and I'll address it again. We have a policy, winds over 70 miles an hour in the metro area. Throughout Woodbury County, we sound the out warning signs. This storm, as it came up to Dakota City, was producing less than 60 mile an hour winds. It wasn't until it got right over the top of Dakota City that it intensified. If you go west of Dakota City, you'll find this kind of damage. The warning was put out, and it was as the storm was pounding on Woodbury County after it gotten through the immediate Sergeant Love and Sioux City area. But we have 5 operators on duty at a time in the 911 center. They don't have a choice of second guessing policy. They're not in that position. They got the warning, they issued the warning, they sounded the sirens exactly like they have been trained to do it, like policy said. Unfortunately, it was after the worst of the damage had happened, but they don't know that in the 911 center. They're not in the field. And the radios are so busy and the phones are so busy at that point, they have no idea if there's a trailing edge of the storm or why the National Weather Service issued that warning. So, yes, it was after the fact that the sirens went off. We apologize for that. We still think our policy of winds over 70 miles an hour sounding the sirens makes sense. If you go into this impacted area, you'll see why we do that.
But this is sort of a freak storm, came up all at once.
Over the last 2 or 3 years, though, and I think the public needs to know, we believe we're seeing these storms get severe differently than whether it's just the seasons or whatever, but, we're into Labor Day weekend and having severe weather. Last year was October. We had, 5 tornadoes in Woodbury County. So our goal is to give the public as much lead time as we possibly can. And there was a warning out for this storm. There was a tornado watch out for this area, but it's just it was after the fact that we got the warning. Our operators reacted to it like they should have. Had they not, and they start second guessing that, they don't know. They don't know what's going on in the field. They don't know what's coming behind it. They have to, and we're not perfect. Our solutions are not perfect.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
And the sirens wouldn't have changed the damage anybody would have received with their homes. We feel the warning must have been listened to quite well because there were no injuries on our side of the river and no fatalities.
Yes, which is great. One of the things that you brought up to me, too, Gary, was, and I've been out there to look at it, the damage at Prairie Hills. It is tremendous, guys. I went out there last week. I would say 90% of those old age trees have been broken off, blown down, and our O&M department is on top of that, working on that. I looked at the buildings out there, those nice new buildings. The garage doors have been blown off, totally off those buildings. We have 2 other, or maybe 3 old age buildings out there that they have been damaged severely. I don't know if we need to keep them up or not. They probably should be bulldozed down because it would be really too expensive to rehabilitate those old facilities out there. But mainly all of those old age trees out there in front of the Prairie homes have been blown over and has to be taken care of. It's just ruined all of them. So it
Is
was
there
a
roof damage out there?
There was some roof damage that I looked at on that side of the building.
I think the shingles are new, the ones that are gone on the west side. There's a bunch of shingles on the west side of that main building.
Right. Yes.
They're out in the cornfields.
Yes, they are. And, the trailer that you have, Pat, was completely damaged on the right-hand side, caved in, fenders knocked off of it. It was a tremendous amount of damage, so that's why we have to purchase you a new trailer to haul the election equipment around. So that storm really did a lot of damage out there.
And you get out on that east end especially is where we think we're seeing it. In the Sergeant Bluff and the area right around Sergeant Bluff, we see that as high straight line wind driven full of rain, and then when you get a little farther east, you can see a kind of a tornado path, small tornado path of damage out there, New Prairie Hill, and some of that. It doesn't matter, wind is wind. I mean,
That's right.
wind is wind.
Particularly when it's over 60 miles an hour, it's,
Well, we do evaluate that because it goes
Dangerous
in the
wind.
database of the National Weather
Absolutely.
Service for their training, they go back and look at that, archive radar image and everything, so.
okay. Okay, anything else?
We're anticipating our cleanup will be complete by Friday.
Mhm.
If we don't have it all done, we'll have 95% cleaned up.
Wonderful.
So far, we haven't had any problems with backfilling, but, you know, the only way to deal with one of these is you need to give confined geographic area that you're cleaning up in, so that you don't have folks all over the county filling our ditches with everything that's come down over the years. And then you need to give them a time frame, otherwise we could be at this for months. So,
Smart.
again, we haven't observed anybody backfilling us. If we do, we'll be calling the sheriff's office.
Take care of it.
Littering.
Okay.
So, I do plan to enforce that if
Absolutely.
it becomes necessary.
Okay.
So.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay. Item number 8 is hearing of any individual or group wishing to make a presentation on an item not on the agenda.
I'll bring you up to speed on Prairie Hill. We sent out 15 today and returned 2 back. They didn't pass their UA, so that happens. Just to clarify, so you knew why we closed Prairie Hill for that 10-day period, we had 4 inmates in Prairie Hill, 3 of which were on work release. So that was 1 inmate. That 1 inmate could go downtown, and those other 6 guards, correctional officers, could go up to the hospital and guard around the clock. Because we had 3 inmates that were in the hospital, and that required 2 on each of those parties. So that was the reason. The numbers are now down to 193. Don't ask me why. We got rid of a bunch of inmates. There was some room in the inn at the prison, so we were able to do that. That's good.
That is good.
Yes. So hopefully we don't have a large increase coming. And just update on the 12-hour days. That's going well. I've had a lot of people say I never did get a weekend off before, so at least I'm getting every other weekend. So that's being well received by the majority. Of course, some that always got a weekend off aren't probably as excited because they have to rotate. But that's part of this job. And then lastly, Tuesday night, if you get a chance, we have our Sheriff's Reserve graduation, and we're going to have a little ceremony. And that will be at the Security Institute out at WIT. And that will take place at 6:30, and the formal ceremony part will be at 7. So.
You're gonna send an email on that?
Yeah, I'll send you, but I thought this would work good. But, I can remind you.
September what is that date?
Wednesday, this Wednesday.
Tomorrow?
Yes.
How many you got to graduate?
23. So it's
Good.
been good. They've been used a whole bunch. So we're pretty excited. Been a couple storms they've had to go through. Tornadoes and now this last one. And so they've been a valuable asset.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Board members, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session under 21.5, parent A.
Second.
Tripp?
Aye.
Johnson? Boykin?
Aye.
Lawson?
Aye.
Smith?